Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. I'm Farmer Will Meller, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel, and if you've liked the video at the end of it, please give it a thumbs up, and I hope you enjoy the video. So in today's video we're looking at bales. So if anyone doesn't already know this, or anyone that's new to the channel, we're mad about bales. We made over 5,000 round bales of silage last year in all throughout the summer. And I thought today would actually be a very good day. Well, today is the 31st of January, Friday the 31st of January. So we're going to take a look on how much silage we've actually got left, because I'm not sure if you can hear me actually because the JCB's behind me, but when I did a college apprenticeship course when I was, about 10 years ago, well over 10 years ago actually, I was always told, well, one of the tutors told me that the 1st of February on a livestock farm is generally roughly about the middle of winter. Obviously it depends where your farm is. If you've got a farm in the hills up at, I don't know, 1,500 feet above sea level, you're going to end up midwinter would be actually longer. Whereas if you're like on the flats, I don't know, on some lowlands somewhere like Somerset or Cheshire or somewhere like that with good productive land, your winter would actually be, middle of winter would be actually sometime in January. But enough about that, because I could well be wrong on all that. We're going to count how many bales of silage we've actually got left. So, well, not only silage, we're actually going to look at, so if you don't actually already know, we wrap our straw bales. So we've got 2 bales here open, which we're about to use the straw situation. So we actually had a bit less straw last year we bought, so we buy all our straw in. We need to count on how many bales of that we've actually got left, because actually it's alarming how much we've actually used. So at the minute, without counting how many bales of silage we've got left, I think we'll be alright for silage. Straw, probably not. I will do the sums in a minute, but I think we've actually used over half our amount of straw already, and that's got to last us until, well, like next September. So yeah, I think we're going to have to end up buying some straw, more straw, but we'll do the sums in a minute. But I'll just show you these bales of straw. So we've got a couple of bales of straw open, nice stuff. So it's kept well in the wrap. So, we wrap them. I know it's a bit backwards, but, it's a bit backwards way of doing it, but it keeps well and it's dry, which is the most important bit. So we've got 2 groups of straw yards that want bedding up. So one group is actually using a bale of straw a day, which is a bit of a pain in the backside because we're using it a bit too fast. But that and the fact that the straw chopper is also using a bale a day, so that's like 2 bales a day at the minute. We'll work that out in a minute. But nice straw. We're going to go and bed up, and then we'll do some sums and work out how much silage we've actually got left. Right, so I just thought I'd like to just put this in the video. Sorry about the lighting. But this is why I like round bales of straw. Why we personally like round bales of straw. Because not only can we wrap them and stack them outside, but you roll it out like that and it basically spreads itself. It's a lot better than picking up a slab off a square bale and shaking it. You just roll it in a line, and that car stood there in the line, but roll it in a line down the shed and jobs are good. And easy job of bedding up. Just makes life easier. All you have to do is just push the bale around. But these are the ones that are using a bale of straw a day. So there's 12 in here, I think. 12 cows, and I think there's about 20 calves. I need to count actually, because actually 2 calved yesterday. Well, 1 calved last night and 1's calved in the night. But yeah, that's why we like round bales of straw. Easy bedding. Also, just thought I'd put it in now as well. Someone might be asking why don't I use a straw chopper to bed these. So it does the cubicles, and in all fairness, the straw chopper does bed this shed. just because, purely because, they're having a bale a day. It's just easier to put a whole bale in at one go rather than blast it across the shed with a straw chopper. And that's one of the reasons we have round bales, is the round bale straw chopper. Obviously, people like I've seen videos, people have spreader bale things on front of load alls. I don't understand how well the camera's going to pick that up. I'm not sure how well that JCB would handle a spreader bale. Probably not very well. You know, if someone wants to send me a spreader bale, they're more than welcome to. But, yeah, that's why we're spreading it by hand, rolling a bale out, rather than with a machine. Right, so I just thought I'd show you this bit before we have a count up on how many bales we've got left. Slurry tanker is filling over there, so I'm hoping it doesn't pick the noise up too badly. But these are the bales we're feeding at the minute. So these are the ones, these are all open for tomorrow. So this is what we're feeding all our stock right now. I don't know how many bales there are here, but there's quite a few. But it isn't my job to be feeding, it's my dad's job, which he's quite capable of because it's quite simple and easy to do, which we'll do a video on at a later date. First cut. It's chopped, this is. That's some of the first stuff we made. It's really nice stuff. And then, so that's first cut, which is here. Second cut's here. A bit of mould there, but that's nothing compared to the whole of the bale. So second cut. So this is what the milk cows eat. That's what the heifers, dry cows are eating. Milk cows do have a couple of bales of that. Then milk cows have all this second cut here. And then over here, third cut, which this was some that were made before that didn't get rained on. So we had some that did get rained on, and that was wet and horrible. This is actually quite nice. But this stuff, this bale, the one behind, very good. That is one of the wet ones, ones that got rained on. It doesn't look as good as one of this one. Both third cut, but it's just because that the weather forecast. I'll have to beep that out. And it got rained on, and we couldn't really do out about that. There's the milk cows. There they are. They're thinking, is it grass day yet? No, it isn't, is the word. But just thought I'd show you the bales. This is what we're feeding on a daily basis at the minute. So we put all the bales here. What my dad does. That's his job through the day. Just sit on a tractor and bring them round. And then it's easy to feed because the cows are only there. So yeah, that's just the way we do it. But I just thought I'd just show you what these bales look like. I mean, they've held the shape pretty well. These second cuts are very nice. Very nice indeed. The cows are actually milking just short of 20 litres a day at the minute. Average, that's the average. Which we'll go into a video at a later date because I had a comment on one video a while ago saying, you know, how come our cows are only yielding just under 20 litres, whereas you've got other herds out there that are doing like 30 or 40 litres, and we'll do that in another video. But for us, that's a very good yield, just nearly 20 litres off round bale silage. Pretty simple and easy to use system, which again we'll do in another video. But I need to get back to my tanker now because I can see on the side tube it's nearly full. But we'll have a count up on how many bales we've got left. Hello everybody, and welcome back. This is actually the following day, so it's not focusing very well. There we go. So this is the following day, so it's the 1st of February today, so this is actually a good day to do it. So I actually do this every year. But I've actually just used a bale straw on them, so that's a bale straw less. I'm sure you can see that. Freshly bedded up. But we've counted how many bales of straw are left, and that's quite worrying. So we'll go through that though in a minute. But just while we're looking at the calf, well, bedding the calves up there, JCB, we'll just have a look at how many third cut bales we've got left. So there's third cut. So these are the dry third cuts, believe it or not, even though they're a bit squashed. These are dry bales. So these are quite good bales actually. They're the best third cut we made last year anyway. But a couple of years ago we did actually make some really dry third cut, and that was perfect. You couldn't ask for a better third cut really. But these are third cut, so I just need to climb up here. So where we are. Try not to fall over William. That would be a good place to start. So I need to just count now how many bales we've got left. Right, so I've counted. I've got it all written down on a piece of paper, well, a bit of cardboard, bit of rubbish cardboard. So we'll go through and, well, we're getting where it's dry because it's just spitting a rain right now. So I'll just go into the dairy, or the pump room, and we'll go through how many bales we've actually got left for what should be today, which is the midpoint of winter, supposedly. But I think we're a bit further on than what we are. But yeah, we'll go through that in a minute. Right then, so we've come in where it's dry and it's not as windy. So we've counted up on how many bales we've got. We've got them all written down here. But what we need to do first is just say that actually this 1st of February is supposedly the middle of winter. I'm not claiming it is. By no means. This is a little disclaimer saying that, you know, I'm not claiming it is. This is what I was taught when I did an agricultural apprenticeship. One of the tutors told me that supposedly that is traditionally the mid-winter point, 1st of February. So, but it all depends on whether you have, if we have a lot of snow like March and April time, which we can do, that obviously pushes things back a bit. Whereas if we have a very warm and dry March and April, you're actually past the middle of winter now, but there's no point in really knowing that until that comes around. So it's always better to be prepared, because you don't know what sort of weather, what sort of spring we'll have, because that's the most volatile point really. Right, so we've got his figures here. The one thing that is alarming is how much straw we've actually got left. So last autumn, late summer autumn, we bought in all our straw for the year, and we had a little bit less straw actually than what we did the year before, and I didn't realise that until after we'd had it. So in 2023 we had about 420 bales, I think, roughly, of straw. I'm not written it down, pretending I know what I have got written down. I think we had about 420 bales of straw, roughly, which worked out quite well because it lasted us right through until autumn 2024. So we had about 60 bales less, because we had 360 bales of straw we bought in last autumn. So currently, out of 300, we'll just do the sums on this actually. Just get my phone calculator out. So out of 360, we have used 244. That's including that bale this morning, but that's besides the point. Yeah, so that's quite worrying. That's the big problem we're going to have now, because if we're using, we've only got 116 left, basically. So if we're using 2 a day, we've only got enough for 2 months. So what's 58 days from now? About 1st of April. So on about the 1st of April, we're going to run out of straw. Oh dear. We're in a bit of a pickle then with that. So if there's anyone watching this who could potentially, at the end of March, supply us with some round bales of straw, please get in touch. Yeah, but that is the biggest concern from looking at these numbers. So for the last number of years, we've been massively short of silage. Massively short. we've got to this time of the year, well, we've got to turnout, so about grass day, which is about beginning of April, mid-April, and we'll be using our last few bales of silage as we turn the cows out. That's how short of silage we've been in the past. I think one year we were actually buying in silage, no, a couple of years, for not only 1 year, we did it for a couple of years, where we were buying in silage right up until the cows went out. So we'd already used our own silage, and then we were buying in more silage because the cows hadn't gone out, for whatever reason it was, late spring or whatever, and we were massively short of silage, but that is a big expense buying in silage. This year, however, we should be alright, because we're at the 1st of February, and we have got over half our silage left. So that is a big thumbs up, because we're not going to use half of it before turnout at middle of April. No way would we use all we've got left. So we've currently got 1,916 bales of first cut left. Well, roughly, that could be a few bales out. But still, that's a big number to have left by now for us. That's a rare thing for us. Let's take my hood off because it's not windy in here and it's not raining. So that's a big thumbs up. We're on to a winner with that. So things are looking good there. Second cut, 693 bales are left. So I'll just pause the camera a minute and we'll have a look on how many bales we started the winter with. Right, so welcome back. So sorry, well, it's been like a second for you, but for me it's been about an hour, just because the milk tank has come and I've been waiting patiently for the tank washer to stop making a noise, but we're still making a noise. So hopefully you can't hear that too much and you can hear me more than you can hear that. So we've got the figures. So we have used 244 bales of straw, which I've already previously said, which is not very good when we've only got 116 left. So, like I say, we're going to run out roughly about the 1st of April, because we're using that roughly 2 a day. First cut wise, we have 113. So I'll put all these figures here. If I stand here, I'll put all the figures here, hopefully, if I can edit this right. So we've used 1,311 first cut bales. That's what we've used. And we've got 1,916 left, which is, we haven't even used half of them. We're doing quite well there. Second cut. Now then, for second cut, we have used nearly half of them. So we're about where we should be with them. We've got 693 left. And we've used 625, so we've used nearly half of them. So we're about where we should be with that. If anything, I thought we might have used more of them when I did the first working out, but we didn't start feeding it till like January. So, well, like now, about a month ago. So, well, I say a month ago. We were using some through December, but then we started feeding it harder. Like I think it was end of December. Yeah, it was just before Christmas actually. So I remember now, it was just before Christmas. So in about 6 weeks, roughly, maybe a little bit longer, we've used 600 and some bales of that. So yeah, I'll just do the sums on that. Yeah, so that works out about right. So currently we're feeding. That works out at I worked it out. So it's a 7-week period we've been feeding them bales. So divide that by, works out at 12 bales a day, well, just over 12 bales a day, which is actually what we're actually feeding a second cut. So we're doing, I've worked that out quite well. So we're feeding 12 bales a second cut every day. So there's enough left if we're feeding 12 bales. There's enough left for 58 days. Well, just short of 57.75 days. So 58 days, which would take us to about 1st of April. So we've got enough of them till turnout if we carry on feeding them at the rate we're doing. So third cut. Now this figure doesn't look very good, but there's a reason behind this. So we made 459 bales of third cut. That was off 80 acres, I think, roughly. Yeah, we're 80 acres. So 80 acres, and we've used 350 of them bales. So there's only 109 left. But we've been feeding them slightly differently. So we've been feeding them since near enough when they were made. So roughly about the beginning of November. Let me work it out. So we've been feeding them for 88 days. So 88 days, what's that? 31 plus 31. Yeah, since about the beginning of November. So it was about a week after we'd made them bales that we started feeding them. There's a reason behind that. They were so wet, and because wet bales, if you leave them too long, they'll rot really quick and really fast. They'll rot a lot quicker than a dry bale would. The tiniest little hole in, they'll start to rot, and the feed value will just plummet downhill. It's a downhill spiral. So that's the reason why we fed them so quick. So there's only 109 of them left. So at the rate we're feeding them at, we'll have used them by the end of February, which is actually quite a good thing, because we'll be glad to see the back of them third cut bales. Them ones we're feeding now are pretty good. They're good bales, but the ones that we baled when it were wet, not so good. They were really heavy. They're really wet, heavy bales. The wetter the bale, the heavier they are. It just puts more strain on machinery, and it's not very nice feeding wet bales. Personally, I don't have to feed those bales. My brother James does, which it's not a nice job to do at the end of the day. Feeding wet bales is a lot nicer to feed a dry bale. So that sums it up really. First cut bale wise, just trying to think how many we're feeding every day. Right, so first cut wise, it varies a lot. So at the minute we're feeding roughly 7 bales of first cut every day. It's a very rough estimate, because straw yards where there's cows with calves, beef calves that are sucking them, let me switch that off. Just a volume washer, because I was just setting up the foot bath. It varies a lot. There's groups of calves that are in straw yards. They don't need a bale every day. Some might have a bale once every other day. Some have a bale once every 3 days, and then I think there's one that has one bale every 5 or 6 days. You know what I mean? It varies a lot, so it's hard to work that one out precisely, but the average works out about 7 bales. So let's work that one out. So if we're feeding 12 bales of first cut, plus 4 third, so that's how many bales a day we are feeding. 23. That is quite a lot. Milk cows are having, what's that? That's 16 bales. So 190 milk cows, which are in milk, are eating 16 bales of silage, which that is a lot, you know. But they have ring feeders in the yard. We just tip the bale in. It's pretty simple and easy to do. It's very quick as well. So it's a cheap way of doing it, and I'll go into a video on doing that another time. But it's a pretty simple way of doing it, and it works really well for our system. And yeah, so at the minute we have got over half. We made just over 5,000 round bales. I did a video on it last summer, so we made just over 5,000 round bales, and we've still got over half of them left, so we're doing well. But the straw situation is a bit worrying. So yeah, that's not something we've come across last winter. We didn't have that problem last winter. We were doing quite well with straw. This winter we're not doing quite so well. I'm not sure if last year were a bad year though for straw. But like I say, if anyone's watching this and has potentially got some good straw at a decent price, not now, but like end of March, April time, because we would be probably looking for some there about then. But First cut wise, what will we do is we'll carry on feeding silage wise. We'll have plenty of silage left, hopefully, come the time the cows go out. And I'll just go into detail now. The reason why we've ended up with a surplus of silage is purely because last spring we took on renting a block of ground. So that is just like on a grass eating contract. It's nothing fancy. That is the reason why we've just ended up with so much silage, purely because we've had some extra ground last year. That extra ground has helped us build up a surplus of silage, which is honestly a good thing when you've been in a situation before where we've been turning cows out and had no silage left, of our own silage left, or been at the stage where you're turning cows out and you're using your last bales of silage that day. You know, that's really not a nice place to be at. So having a surplus of silage when the cows go out is definitely going to be a plus thing, because silage doesn't go off at the end of the day. And when it's wrapped up in a bale, it's not going off. That silage will keep till next year. So if we had, God forbid, we had a drought summer, our ground doesn't cope very well with a drought. It burns up after like 4 or 5 days of dry weather in June, July time. So without any rain, it just burns up. So if God forbid we had all of June and July without any rain, please don't let that happen. We have actually got a surplus of silage of our own, which we can then buffer feed the cows when they've got no grass. So that is the way, really, going forward, we want to be doing things here, definitely, where we've got a surplus of silage, enough to feed the cows through the summer if we have to, but that silage, if we have a good year, fingers crossed we do, where we get a nice steady flow of rain through the summer to keep the grass growing, that then we don't have to feed any surplus silage we've got left. That silage will just roll over into next autumn when we have to start feeding it again, and we'll feed that first. Or, like last summer, we were buffer feeding them through the summer just because we felt the grass quality was a bit on the low side, and at the time the dry cows, how we've got the dry cows set up grazing, were really short of grass. So we had a lot of dry cows in the summer, and they got short of grass, so we were having to buffer feed them with silage, and then the milk cows were eating up what they'd not left behind. But going forward, that worked really well, so we might end up doing that again. But yeah, it's all positive, so it's all good. Plenty of silage left. We've not been in a situation like this before. This time last year, I think it was like, it was definitely in February. Yeah, it was definitely towards the end of February, definitely. We definitely went through March and April doing it as well, where we were buying in silage because we knew we were going to be short. So we were buying in silage because we were short. We got nowhere near as much silage left now at this time of the year as we have now. So we were buying it in, whereas this year, no need to do that. We're in a good position. So, and hopefully going forward, we won't actually have to buy in silage for the foreseeable future. Hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood. But there'll be a video coming up. I'll do one at some point of how we feed the cows in the ring feeders and that, do a little update on that, on why we don't run a diet feeder and things like that, because a lot of dairy farmers do run a diet feeder and they get more milk from the cows, but we get less milk and don't run a diet feeder. But it swings and roundabouts. So there'll be a video on, I'll make a video on doing that. But yeah, all going forward, silage stocks are good. Straw stocks, terrible, awful, quite worrying to be quite honest with you. But I'll leave it on a positive note that we've got plenty of silage left, and hopefully I will see you all in my next video. And if you've liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe below. And I apologise in advance if you all think I've waffled on too much. But For now, I'll see you in my next one. I'll see you. Bye.